Welcome to another episode of the Podcast Profits Unleashed podcast, where we inspire coaches and consultants really to use podcasting, whether as a guest or even as a host, to actually get clients. Now, today's episode is Beyond Blueprints: how human design unlocks aligned growth in not just business, but in life in general. Now, my special guest is Stefanie Carlstedt. Now, she helps, I would say, she might correct me, but heart-led entrepreneurs build aligned, sustainable businesses by using human design to tailor their marketing, sales, and strategy to who they truly are. Now, just to let you know, after the ads, I will be talking about how to convert your listeners into buyers from your guest appearances. So make sure that you stay to the end. But first, welcome to the show, Stefanie.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
It's great to have you here. And now, human design, there's a lot of talk about this at the moment. So, what made you make that jump? There's lots of business coaches out there. So what initially inspired you to become a human design business coach in particular?
Yeah, I have been an entrepreneur for 13 years. I knew very quick after getting into the corporate world that it wasn't for me. And so I dove into entrepreneurship and I built a business. I built a big business on the trends, the funnels, the systems of everybody else. And I slowly died inside that business. And in that process of building my first business, my dad was going through the awful trajectory of early onset Alzheimer's. And so I was able to be with him as much as I could through that process, which is why I'm forever grateful for entrepreneurship. I think it's life changing in all aspects. And then when I let that business go and it just died because I had lost myself in it. I lost my dad pretty much the same time. And it was in that moment where I spun out, like the grief broke me wide open is what I tell people. And it was in those weeks after that I was sent a text by my sister-in-law who said, you should just try, look at your human design. Do you know what it is? And I said, I've heard of it. I chalked it up to fluff. I chalked it up to this Enneagram and that type of stuff. And it's so much more and so much deeper. And when I sat on my couch in my living room that day and started reading myself, it was the first time that I felt I could be myself. I felt heard, validated, seen, understood. And I've always felt like I was wrong in so many areas. And so my mission now is to give back to the entrepreneurial space that I almost feel like I didn't do them justice, because I did help hundreds of people step into the online space and I gave them the same blueprints that I followed. I did the same checklist, the same systems, and no wonder so many didn't find the success that they could have. And now I know better. And so that is why I chose this coaching opportunity to really help people infuse it into their business so they can stand out in the sea of sameness right now.
So look, I'm sure a lot of the listeners, some people may have heard of human design, many may not have. So what makes that different? What sort of separates you from the marketplace of, let's face it, a zillion business coaches out there?
Yeah, for sure. So human design does actually tell you. So let's back up and I'll share a tiny bit about what it is. I call it the science of differentiation, and there is scientific backup for it now, but it really is based on your birth time, your birthplace, and your birth date, and exactly 3 months prior to that. And you get this beautiful chart that you don't know what it means, but when you have a coach to help you read into it, and you can understand so much about yourself. You can, as far as business growth, it tells you how you're meant to market, how your voice is meant to be heard. It tells you what we call your vibe of tribe, the people, the traits and the people you can see the best and what they see in you on this stage of life. Your energy, so how your energy needs to work inside your business. We're not all energy beings. We can't all hustle. Some of us it's written in our chart, if we send cold invites, cold messages to people, it will fall flat. They will not respond. So lots of different nuances. So my mission is to really help each client walk away with a completely unique business to their design and no more burnout, because it's all aligned. Yeah.
And that's so important, because so many people are feeling like they should be doing this and this and this because one guru is saying one thing, somebody else is saying another. And that's possibly a cause that they, funnily enough, find themselves in the middle of burnout because they're trying all these different things. And you're right, when not everybody wants to say guest on podcasts, right? Or launch a podcast. That's not their thing. That's not their, and it's okay. It's not the only way. That's why there are so many things. Everything will work because it's all proven to work. Some people have success in one aspect and somebody else will have success in another way. So rather than trying all these different things because people, I don't know, it's just a perception, isn't it? They just feel that they should.
Yeah.
And then
it's almost fear of missing out. It's the shiny object syndrome. And actually, some designs are more prone to follow the shiny object syndrome. So it's really important to understand that about yourself so you can hone it in and do what really lights you up. Burnout, what I tell my clients, has nothing to do with the amount of things you do, because I do a ton of things in my business every day, but they're so aligned to to how I'm meant to show up that there's no burnout. And so I think that's a misconception that people say, oh, I just have so much going on, I'm so burnt out. But it's really not. It's how aligned are you to those things?
Love that. And business should be fun. It doesn't have to be the chore. And I suppose it only feels like it's a chore when you're not in alignment, when you're not doing the things that you're naturally meant to be doing. I can't write. I'm never going to be a copywriter. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness for AI, because it's just really not my trait. I'm not doing the written word. I just want to speak it. And then, because I find it easy because you can just speak from the heart, right?
Yeah,
but
for
somebody else, that's not their jam. So they want to do the writing thing, or whether it's blogging, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I suppose that really helps people once they are aware, because do many people that you come across that, is it a surprise when they find out, or in general, do they like, okay, that makes sense?
Yeah. It's never, so I think as of this morning, I think I've had 948 people get their human design chart and PDF with me. And I have only had one person come back and say, this does not sound like me at all. And we discovered that it was her birth time was wrong. And so it was, and then she read it again. She was like, yes. So really what happens is human design sheds, it doesn't put you in a box. It really sheds a light on the box you put yourself in because of society's conditioning, the things that we're taught that is quote unquote successful in the way to do it. And when people read their design, they're like, this is why I always felt like that didn't work, but I pushed through anyway because everybody said to. Yeah, it's so fascinating.
Love really that. Cool. Love that. It just goes to show we think we know ourselves.
Yeah, we really do. And I say that we blindly are following other people and other ideas and other strategies because we have lost that connection within ourselves. And that's one thing within your design, is that you have an authority, which is your decision-making process. And when you connect with that piece of you, business becomes so much easier. And you think we should all make decisions in the same way, but we're not supposed to.
Because we are. Everyone has their own unique situation.
Yeah.
And when you embrace that, things are going to flow a little bit better. I think we've been conditioned, haven't we, to almost, it is this belief system that we've got to work hard to find success. We've got to work hard for money. So it's almost like a badge of honor. I've got to be busy doing all these different things. Otherwise, I'm not really working on my business. Whereas the opposite is true.
Yeah,
the opposite
for sure.
is true.
100%.
So you're saving people's energy. You're saving people's time, because now they can just focus in and hone in on their specific skill set. And I'm presuming that's making a big difference in their results, is it?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I have a client that I can think of right now who things are just exploding for her. And it's been years that she's just drug on. And one thing that I help people do in their design first is we uncover their hidden fears that are in their human design, which really shows them why they've been struggling, why they keep bumping up against themselves. And so that's super fascinating to see that unlock for people also. But yeah, it's eye-opening. And when so many people want to be entrepreneurs and business owners, but they just don't try or start because they think they have to do it like everybody else and it doesn't feel good.
And it's always us, isn't it? It's always
Mhm.
us getting in our own way.
Yeah.
We are our
Yes,
own obstacles.
for sure.
And sometimes we just need somebody outside of us that knows this stuff to actually
Mhm.
just point us in the right direction so things get easier. Because,
Yeah.
growing a business should be fun. It should be aligned with how you want to work. But unfortunately, so many do feel stuck. And I suppose they are just chasing this. There's this goal of we all want it now, right? We all
Mhm.
want this instant gratification, but overnight success doesn't happen. I would suggest it takes about 5 years
And the thing
or
is that
more.
but the thing is we've been told a lie in the online space of overnight success, of passive income. And it gives you a false representation of what it takes to build a business. But I'm so in love with my business now because it's built with my human design that I want to work full time in it. I love what I get to do. And so we've been just given this false hope that you can just step into business and you can post one time and you're going to have passive income and float on a yacht, and it's just not realistic.
Absolutely. Everybody's chasing the vanity metrics, I call it. It's they're just obsessed with going viral, but actually you can be very successful with actually a small audience if it's the right audience.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there's just so many moving parts. So, are you helping them just hone in on their particular skill set or zone of genius, whatever you want to call it? So, then the other aspects, there are other tools that they can use. Like I said about copywriting, goodness, I can't do
Mhm.
it. There are lots of tools now with AI that can help with that side of things. So, it's freeing me up so that I don't
Yeah.
have to really do that job. I
Yeah.
can rely on that. Or you outsource to people that is their human design. That fits with their skill set. So is that what you're doing with your clients?
Yeah. So speaking of AI, one thing that they get when they work with me is trained bots that are turned off from the internet, but like they are known and skilled in human design and specific like superpowers, the superpowers of your human design. And there's one for that, and then one for your niche, and one for your brand. And so it really is just honestly creating a business that is so simple. We simplify everything. We strip it all back. We simplify everything because we have overcomplicated it. And when you speak, for instance, when I was first started my entrepreneurial journey, I was told to post 5 times a day. And I did because I listened to everybody else. But when you learn your design and you know how your voice is meant to be heard and how you're meant to speak, then if you post, the right people will come to you. It's so fascinating. I have the spontaneous speaker gate in my voice, which means that I do not do well with a script. Put a script in front of me, I will fall over my words. I will not do well. But I have the spontaneous speaker gate where I know what I need to say. I'm meant to say it, and whoever needs to hear it will hear it. But if I were to write a script, I would block myself from the people that need to hear it, if that makes sense.
Totally get it, which is the whole reason why I love anything around podcasting, either as a host or a guest, is because you are allowed, you've been given permission to just show up as your authentic self and
Mhm.
serve. There is no script. It's purely a conversation. And when you
Yeah.
do it in the right way, you can, this is a great modality, right? Not
Yeah,
for
for
everyone,
sure. Right.
not for
Yep.
everyone, or there are different ways. Not everybody has to do video. Maybe the more introvert types, you don't have to do video. You can just be audio,
Mhm.
and then you'll probably relax a lot more. So there's so many ways that you can do this when it is aligned to your whole personality and your whole skill set. Why is it? What do you think is the most common reason as to why so many coaches are struggling right now? What
Mhm.
is it that's keeping them stuck?
Yeah, so we are in what we call the new era of the individual, and if you're paying attention, you can feel the shift. You can feel the shift from the viral trends, the getting all the views, the more systems based stuff to individuality, and the new era of the individual where authenticity is going to be the way you're successful and the only way you're successful. And it has to be understood and known right now in order to move forward in the business that you want to create. And I think so many people are so just attached to this thing of following this guru of she's had the success, why not me? So you hear so many people say things like, look, if you see someone with what you want, say, why not me? Which, yes, we can all have anything we want, 100%. But when we follow that person's trajectory, we're not going to have that because that is not meant for us. We are not meant to do it in the way and have the exact end result that person does. And so I think it's just putting those blinders on. That's what I had to do in the beginning of this new business. Was I just had to stop scroll. I had to stop looking at anybody else. I had to go into my design, learn myself, and create something that feels really, really good. And so I think that's just the reason people are struggling is because of the bro marketing, the inauthenticity that's happening. You look at a video and you don't even know if it's AI anymore or not. And people need to hear your voice more than they ever have. There's a huge trust recession, and people aren't understanding that, and they're still showing up the way they did 5 years ago.
I couldn't agree more. And I know you have your own podcast too. So you're a host and a guest too.
Yeah.
Really feel that moving forwards, the people who don't do that are missing out, because you're right. I think these days, because of AI, and I'm not dissing AI because I use it a lot to help
for sure.
with tools, but not the actual content, right? Because of the rise of it. And like you say, you don't know what you're looking at. Is that an AI generated thing? It's their AI generated post. So is that person that's putting these posts out, do they have the ability to help me get to where I want to go? Whereas at least with a podcast, you can hear the person, you can hear how they articulate things because they're speaking from the heart, that they know their stuff. So you're building on the know and trust factor so much more. And do it now before, like you say, I'm with you 100%. I think things are definitely changing, and we've come away from this. It doesn't have to be all these really top end produced video reels. It's just, look at this. Come on. This is just, we're on Zoom at the end of the day. We're speaking on Zoom. It doesn't have to be that. Because people, I think, are craving more and more the real, raw conversations. Because again, it's going back to that trust factor.
Yeah,
love that
for sure.
What else? Any other things that you think that people? What can the listeners go home with? What would be the most important thing for them to do to help them get unstuck? Any top tip?
Top tip to help you get unstuck is, I alluded to this a little bit ago, but getting your human design and really shutting out everything else for a good month and understanding first you, because I believe that self-leadership, if we don't know how to self-lead, then we're not going to be able to build a business in 2025. We have to understand how we are designed to move through the world, interact with other people. Some of us need to be around other people in order to bring our voice out. Some of us have it within us spontaneously. You have to, that would be my biggest tip, is to, and we can talk about my chart at the end, but my biggest tip is just to give this a chance and start reading about you and your energy type. Your energy type is the highest level of your design, and that's so important to know in business.
And I suppose trust the process. Like you say, we've come away from being almost connected to what we really are, which is why we are listening to this guru and then that guru, and it's out of alignment. Having that belief in yourself.
Yeah. And I just posted about this on my social media the other day. I said, with the comparison thing, a lot of my clients come to me and they have this comparison trap that they're in. They look at this person, she's having success, and my client is struggling. And what comparison shows up as, we think it's just, I want what she has. But what it is, the total disconnection within yourself. And when you understand your human design, comparison has nothing left to say. You become so okay with who you are and how you're meant to show up, and it shows you your life's purpose. And it's such a beautiful gift to understand what you're here. We all have a piece of puzzle in humanity, and when you start to understand this, you become so okay with being you that the comparison just falls away. It doesn't have a grip.
Brilliant. Fantastic. So if the listeners are thinking like, oh, I want to know what I am, I want to know what my strengths are and how I should be showing up, maybe they do already know, but they've been so disconnected from it because they are looking elsewhere. So what should the listeners do next?
Yeah. So you have to get my free gift for you. It's something that I created. It's 3-part. It's like I call it your 3-part starting bundle that's free. I wanted to create this because most of the time when you get your human design chart, you have to pay extra for like a PDF. And I didn't want to do that because I want people to start really getting a grip of what this can do in their life and their business. So you get your human design chart, you get a 12-page PDF that explains your energy type and your profile. And then you get a 5-part audio series from me that is just taking pieces of your design to help you see what it can do in your business. And I wanted to give everybody that because I think I'm doing a disservice if I just hand you this chart that looks foreign to you, like it did to me in the beginning. I had no idea what it meant until I started researching it and getting certified.
Brilliant. And where can they find that?
Yeah, at stefcarlstedt.com/HD report. And hopefully we can put that in the show notes.
Yes, of course. Yeah, if you're driving whilst you're listening to this, don't worry. Go back to the show notes and Stefanie's details will be in there. Look, Stefanie, thank you for taking time out of your day. Yeah, human design is something that I personally don't know enough about. I've heard it around. I've had a few guests on the show that are involved with the human design. But yeah, you explained it a lot better than they did.
Oh, good.
So yeah, maybe I'll be horrified though if it isn't. I'm sure it is in alignment with what I'm doing, but
you seem like you're pretty aligned.
Oh, thank you.
There's always extra levels you can go.
So guys, I will be back after the ads and I'm going to be talking about how to convert your listeners into actual buyers. Now that's whether you just guest on podcasts or whether you're a host of the podcast. So I'll be back after the break. Bye for now. So I'm back. How to convert listeners into buyers, right? Stefanie, what a great guest. Now, I said at the beginning that I would be talking about how to convert your listeners into actual buyers because again, this is the truth. No one is telling you about your podcast guest appearances. If you don't have the right back-end system in place, it doesn't matter how many interviews you do. People might love your story, but that's where it ends. They're not going to come back and they're not going to convert. And suddenly, guesting just feels like a complete waste of time. So the shift is when you build the right system behind your guest appearances, podcasting is now fun and it's also profitable. So let me show you how most new guests hit the same wall. Many are in the same position. It happens at the end of the interview when the host says something like, "So where can people find you?" Or "What should the listeners do next?" And then it's almost like you see a panic because they list 5 different links, their website, their phone number, even their social media handles. A freebie. The listener hears too many paths, and of course, they take none. All of that momentum that you built throughout the episode has just gone. And you're left thinking, that went great. Didn't anything happen? It's not that you did the interview wrong. You just didn't give people one clear next step. No call to action equals no ROI. And look, I've made the same mistake over and over. Actually, I'd show up, give value, and then book a call if you want to know more. No one books. It's too big of a next step. I've tried everything, PDFs, downloads, webinars. They felt heavy and disconnected from the energy of the podcast. I've tried live workshops, real time, no pitch, just value that felt right. But again, they were pretty exhausting and they weren't really scalable. Then I discovered this back-end monetization engine. It allowed me to show up with full energy in the guest interview and then just hand off the follow-up to a system that kept the connection going 24/7 in a way that felt real and aligned and evergreen, just like podcast episodes. I wasn't ever going for the 4-hour a week. I enjoy working. I was just tired of doing the wrong kind of work, the draining kind. Guesting on podcasts gives me visibility, but without a back end that's working, it was just really chasing the vanity metrics. And that's when I shifted. So instead of trying to push people straight into launching their own show or onto a sales call, trying to convince them of that, I help them guest first to build momentum and confidence. And then when they're ready, maybe launching their own podcast would be the next step, but not the scary first leap. And that's really changed everything. And it started converting a lot faster. So when you build a smart back-end system that does the heavy lifting, so you don't have to do any sales calls on top of your guest appearances, everything compounds. You don't need to be posting every single day or chasing people in the DMs or using appointment setters. Just show up, have a meaningful 30-minute conversation, and then the back end does the work. It guides the right people into your world without any kind of pressure. So how do you do this? Step 1, the content would be to create a 3-part mini course, not how-to tutorials, but belief shifting videos. Each one solves a problem that maybe they didn't even know they had and reframes what's really going on. That's it. Now, step 2 is a carrot. Got to dangle a carrot. A final lock video, your most valuable piece, and it unlocks only once they've completed the mini course. So it rewards momentum and it pre-qualifies serious people. Now, the final part is the sale. The final video combines deep content and a clear offer. No pressure, just truth. It replaces the sales calls. So by the time they finish, the sale is already made in their mind. You just give them the invitation. When you do this, it's liberating. Podcast guesting should feel good. It should feel like showing up, serving deeply, and then trusting that the right people will follow through. And this only happens when your back-end system is aligned. So you don't have to hustle so hard. You're in the flow. So if this clicked for you, that's where you want to start. Build a system before you start stacking the interviews, because when you do, everything changes. Now, we are launching a new mini course that will take you through each step of the process, from finding the right shows to how to pitch to the host, how to treat the host like a possible JV partner, the content of the actual episode, and then finally, your back-end monetization engine. So it's launching soon. If you want to get in now, it's going to be free purely for my podcast listeners. Go to podcastprofitsunleashed.com/free. At the moment, it's still the workshop for people who are thinking about launching podcasts. But if you sign up, you'll be in the system. So when it launches, you'll get first dibs. Anyway, see you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to today's episode on the Podcast Profits Unleashed podcast. If you're